Can one rod do it all? We're going to find out. Ready, run, and gun. It's time for blast off. Let's go. Hey guys, Todd here with you. Welcome back to Bassin 101. Can one rod do it all? If you only had one rod to fish with, what would you choose? Some guys choose spinning rods. Some guys choose casting rods. I'm going to cover casting rods because it allows you to throw a majority of all the baits over what a spinning rod can throw. Spinning rod can handle some of the heavier baits like spinner baits, zero spooks, things like that. You have a hard time with those. So a casting rod to me is the way to go with it. What do you choose? Well, some of you guys are bank fishermen, some are small watercraft. I mean, you can a kayak or a john boat. Some of you guys fish out of big bass boats. Some fish ponds. Rod length that really determines what you want out of a particular blank. And to choose a rod like this, you're really better, unless you build rods yourself, you're really better off going to a store. I always mention Walmart. You can go to Walmart and look for one. You can go to a box store like, let's say Bass Pro, Cabela's, Sportsman's, stuff like that. But one thing I definitely want to tell you is if you go to a box store, take you a snap with some line on it, about 5 foot of line. And what you want to do is you want to attach that to your rod tip. Don't do it to the guide. Do it to the frame. And go to a store, hold it in your hand, and just start pulling. And crank the guide, drag down this thing, and just start pulling. You know, see what kind of tip it has. If you want to know what kind of backbone it has, take that line, tie it to a rack, and set the hook on it. It'll give you an idea what the backbone is. And you can sit here and bend the backbone all you want to, but to get the idea what a hook set is, that's what you need to do. If a salesman says something to you, shut them up by saying, "Hey man, I'm buying a rod, I'm just deciding which one I want." That'll shut them up quick. But for me, a 6.5 foot, straight handle type of rod. Straight hand. This is a MHX that I built. This is the Elite X. This is like their top of the line blank. It is a doll baby. This is a medium heavy. It has good backbone, but it has a lot of tip. You don't want an extra fast action. You want a regular bend type of action. You want a good bit of that rod flexing for you. You don't want just the very tip of it flexing. It doesn't work well for an overall type of rod. But if I can stand back far enough and show you, it's got a really good bend to it, and it's soft enough that I can throw crankbaits, topwaters, jerk baits. I can also turn right around. I can throw a Carolina rig, I can throw a Texas rig, a jig. I can even throw smaller plastic worms on it if I wanted to. But what you need to do is get you a good quality reel that's going to cast all this lighter stuff as well as the heavier stuff. Play with that drag, because when you throw smaller stuff like let's say crankbaits, topwater, you want to back your drag off a little bit for the fight so that the drag can give the fish the fight. And I would choose like 14-pound test for everything. If you have one rod that's going to do everything, river fishing, whatever, get 14-pound test. That's a good all-around line. There's plenty of them on the market. There's smaller diameter 14s, there's your XTs, there's everything else. I'd go with a 14-pound test and a very flexible rod like this with a really good backbone. Like I said, this is a 6.5 foot medium heavy. Some of you guys might want a 5.5 or a 6 foot. 5.5 and 6 foots, you actually might be able to get away with a medium. like I said, check the tip. Because you might actually find, I've got some medium action blanks that are 6.5, 7 foot long that can work as a Carolina rod. I mean, they're pretty stout, but they have a really nice tip on them. What you're wanting is that backbone. This is the most important part of the rod, is this right here. The tip doesn't set the hook. The tip loads the rod on the hook set. This is what sets the hook. Okay? So remember that. So when you're choosing a rod, one rod to do everything, make it versatile, make it a medium heavy. Let's say a lighter action medium heavy to a little bit stiffer medium. That's going to be your best choice. Like I said, a good quality reel. If you're going to have one rod, you might as well have a good quality reel. And I would go 14 pound. You don't have to go with braid, because some things you don't need to throw with braid. But if you want to, that's fine. But I would choose 14 pound test to do all of my fishing with on this kind of rig. And that to me is the one rod that does it all. Like I said, it could be 7.5 foot. It could be 6 foot, 5.5 foot. It could be, like I got here, 6.5 foot. This right here, to me, does everything. I mean, it can do, I could just take this rod on the water with 14 pound test on it, fish all day long with all different kinds of baits. But like I said, you're going to have to adjust the drag on this reel. When you go to plugs and your crankbaits, stuff like that, loosen your drag a little bit. When you're throwing worms and jigs and spinnerbaits, things like that, crank your drag down a little bit. That way, this is going to help that rod fight the fish when you get them to the boat. Okay? I like a lighter drag with moving baits, your crankbaits, things like that. I like a stiffer drag with worms and jigs, and then once I get them to the boat, if they're still fighting pretty good, I will back the drag out, or I'll hit that and let my thumb control the spool until I have them under control, and then I'll lock it back in. That's how I always do it. So I hope this helps you guys out. The one rod that does it all. You just got to find one that fits your needs and suits you the best. That's the best way I can put it. So until next time, remember, new techniques are trendy, but bass never change. May the Father bless you and keep in Yeshua's name, and as always, fish on.